Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a book that's both urgent and inspiring. A Livable Future is Possible, Confronting the Threats to Our Survival by Noam Chomsky. This book takes a hard look at the existential crises threatening our world: climate change, economic inequality, political corruption, and offers a roadmap for how we might navigate our way to a livable future. Stick around as we break down Chomsky's analysis of the threats facing humanity and his call for collective action to create a sustainable world. Let's get into it. In A Livable Future is Possible, Noam Chomsky explores the looming threats that endanger both our present and our future. Drawing on his decades of political analysis, Chomsky makes it clear that the survival of humanity hinges on our ability to confront these existential crises head-on. With his typical clarity, Chomsky weaves together a wide-ranging critique of global systems, focusing on environmental degradation, economic inequality, and the concentration of political power, while presenting a vision for how we might still turn the tide. At the heart of Chomsky's argument is the concept that the world is at a crossroads. Climate change, environmental destruction, and social instability are accelerating at alarming rates. Yet, Chomsky argues that these problems are not inevitable. They are the result of specific political, economic, and social choices that prioritize short-term profit over long-term survival. The book is a wake-up call, urging us to recognize the power dynamics that have shaped our world and to take bold action before it's too late. One of the primary threats Chomsky identifies is climate change. The scientific consensus is overwhelming. The planet is warming at a rate that threatens to destabilize ecosystems, increase extreme weather events, and disrupt life as we know it. Yet, Chomsky argues, political and corporate elites continue to block meaningful action on climate change. Despite the clear warnings from climate scientists, industries like fossil fuels and agriculture continue to operate in ways that exacerbate the crisis. Governments, often influenced by corporate lobbyists, fail to implement the necessary policies to mitigate these dangers. The corporate stranglehold on policymaking is a recurring theme in the book. Chomsky critiques the role of multinational corporations, particularly in the fossil fuel industry, which he views as key drivers of environmental destruction. These companies, according to Chomsky, have immense power to shape global policy, largely due to their financial resources and ability to sway governments. The influence of corporations over political systems is not a new phenomenon, but Chomsky argues that it has reached unprecedented levels, undermining democracy and global cooperation on issues like climate change. In parallel with the environmental crises, Chomsky highlights the growing inequality in both wealth and power. Across the globe, wealth is becoming increasingly concentrated in the hands of a few elite individuals and corporations, while billions of people struggle with poverty, inadequate healthcare, and lack of opportunity. This economic inequality not only exacerbates social unrest but also limits the collective action necessary to address global threats. Chomsky suggests that an economic system based on neoliberalism, the idea that markets should be left largely unregulated and that social programs should be minimized, has played a significant role in creating this disparity. Under such a system, the needs of the many are subordinated to the desires of the few. The concentration of wealth is not just an issue in capitalist economies. Chomsky also looks at the ways in which authoritarian regimes and oligarchies exploit their populations. Whether in Russia, China, or elsewhere, these regimes frequently prioritize maintaining power and wealth over the welfare of their citizens. While these systems may not operate under the same principles as Western democracies, Chomsky argues that their approach to governance, focusing on control, repression, and elite benefit, shares many similarities with capitalist oligarchies. Another critical aspect of the book is Chomsky's analysis of global political structures and institutions. He scrutinizes the role of international organizations like the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, and the International Monetary Fund, arguing that they are often used to serve the interests of powerful nations and multinational corporations, rather than addressing the needs of the global population. These organizations, while ostensibly designed to promote peace, stability, and development, frequently perpetuate an unequal global order, one that favors the wealthy and entrenched elites. Despite these grim assessments, A Livable Future is Possible is not a book of despair. Chomsky offers a vision for how humanity might confront these crises and create a more equitable, sustainable world. The first step, he argues, is to challenge the political and economic systems that have brought us to this point. This includes dismantling the power of corporations over governments, creating systems that prioritize human well-being over profit, and addressing the deep inequalities that have shaped global society. Chomsky also emphasizes the importance of grassroots movements in creating change. While the elites who control the major levers of power may resist change, Chomsky believes that collective action, driven by ordinary people, can make a difference. He draws on examples from history, such as the civil rights movement in the U.S., to show how social movements can challenge entrenched systems of power and create lasting change. The book is a call to action for activists, students, and everyday citizens to get involved in politics, advocate for systemic change, and demand that governments act on behalf of their citizens rather than corporate interests. One of the key areas where Chomsky sees hope is in the growing awareness and mobilization around climate change. Across the globe, millions of young people have taken to the streets, demanding climate action and sustainability. Chomsky is heartened by the rise of movements like Fridays for Future and Extinction Rebellion, seeing them as signs of a growing political consciousness and a desire for systemic change. He argues that these movements need to continue to build momentum, pressuring governments and corporations to adopt policies that prioritize the environment and long-term survival over short-term profit. The book also tackles the question of technology and innovation. While Chomsky is often critical of the ways in which technology is harnessed to serve the interests of the powerful, whether in surveillance, control, or environmental degradation, he also sees the potential for technology to be a force for good. For example, renewable energy technologies like solar and wind power, if adopted on a large scale, could help mitigate climate change. Likewise, advances in sustainable agriculture, resource management, and green technologies could help build a more sustainable world. Chomsky argues that if these technologies are developed and deployed with the goal of public welfare, they can play a crucial role in building a livable future. Another important aspect of Chomsky's argument is the need for international cooperation. Global challenges like climate change, pandemics, and nuclear proliferation require collaborative action across borders. Yet, the world is increasingly fragmented, with rising nationalism and isolationism threatening the possibility of such cooperation. Chomsky stresses that in order to address these crises, the international community must work together, setting aside narrow national interests for the collective good. This will require rethinking global governance structures and ensuring that countries work together to create a sustainable, peaceful future. Chomsky ends A Livable Future is Possible with a message of hope. While the challenges we face are enormous, they are not insurmountable. By confronting the root causes of inequality, environmental degradation, and political corruption, and by building a global movement for change, we have the potential to create a world where all people can thrive. Chomsky's call for a livable future is a challenge to us all, to recognize the urgency of the moment, to demand justice, and to take action to ensure a world that is not just survivable, but livable for future generations. If you found this breakdown of A Livable Future is Possible compelling, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more discussions on climate change, global politics, and social justice. Together, we can create the future we want to see. See you in the next video.